Welcome everybody, my name is Travis. I'm also Dragonor 2009 and I'm going to go ahead and give you this tutorial on HTML. We're going to actually create a web page, not an entire website because that'd take too long, but once you know how to create one page you obviously know how to create them all. So this is going to be using a lot of basic HTML. There's a lot of advanced tactics I could show you, but I'm going to choose not to because I don't want to confuse anyone. This is kind of the basics of the basics. And I always like to show in videos, I always hate it when people don't show their goals first, so I'm going to show you the goal first, okay? This is actually what we're going to end up making today with just HTML. There is no styling in this particular tutorial, there will be in the next one. Basically you're going to be creating, actually I'm sorry, let's go with this one. I changed the header. Basically you're going to be creating a header with some navigation links here and some headlines as well as some paragraphs, and I'm going to show you how to do that in HTML. Knowing how to put pictures inside your web page, some more pictures of course, knowing how to put a bullets list. Also this empty space here I use what's called break tags, and I'm going to explain that. That was the whole purpose of it. And another picture as well as a selection list. We got different categories to choose from. I'm going to make this selection list going to really play a huge role in my CSS tutorial, and I'm also going to add a little bit of JavaScript to that in my CSS tutorial, where you get to pick something and it goes to a particular page in a new tab. Also, I'm going to show you how to shrink a big image that already comes to you in a huge size. I'm going to show you how to place banner ads on a website, and how to create this footer here along with this star image. So that's going to be somewhat different, as well as how to style this in the next tutorial. In fact, I'm going to go ahead and show you guys what the final result will be in the next tutorial. It's going to look like this. Basically we style everything to where the image looks like this. We have the navigation links. As you can see, the color changes whenever our cursor is on there, our mouse. And I'm going to show you how to do that. I'm going to show you how to put this in here underneath the navigation list, where you can click on this. I'm going to show you how to position a picture, as well as change the font, change font color, as well as place a sidebar inside here that scrolls. I will also show you how to place ads in here. Also, if you see these bullets here, you notice there's an image right here. I'm going to show you how to place that image right there. This is what it's called in the side tag. I'm going to show how you place that as well. You can put anything in there, as well as put like this different color background that you see here. And something that's kind of interesting, I'm going to show you how, I didn't mean to hit that. The only one that I put a link towards was the Great Dane one, just to kind of show you that you can use JavaScript to program this to where it would click on a page of whatever you set it for. So for example, you clicked on Great Dane here, it'll take you to a website. I happen to pick Google Images because it's simple and it's just for demonstration purposes only. Ideally, of course, you would pick your own website because you're trying to promote your own website. So I'm going to show you how to do that. It's a little bit of JavaScript code, not much, maybe 3 or 4 lines of code, because I really mainly want to focus on HTML and CSS, and as well as place this footer here and style it. So that's basically what's going to happen in this tutorial. In the full tutorial, when I include CSS, but for right now we're just going to focus on the HTML part, which is what we just saw here. So the first thing you want to do, you want to go to Google and you want to download a program called Notepad++, and click on Notepad++, and then it's going to look like this in whenever you're doing this. It's got colors and everything on here, and that's really neat. That's really nice to know when you got colors, because it tells me if I'm doing something wrong. So, and I'll show you what I mean when we get into it. Anyways, what you want to do is you want to go to the download section, click on download, follow the instructions, and then go ahead and go to your Notepad++, which will look like this by the time you're done. There'll be a little symbol like this on your desktop rather. And then the first thing you want to do whenever you create an HTML document is you want to file, save as, whatever you want to name it. A lot of people name it style, or I'm sorry, index.html. But I'm going to name this one dog. And the reason for it is because let's say you want to make multiple HTML files. I want to show you kind of this way because this is a little bit easier to understand and rather me just writing index. So I'm going to name this one dog HTML, and I'm going to make sure I put it in the right area here. And you want to make sure you find the hyperlink text markup that you see right here. Click on that and then click save. And now you guys are ready to code in HTML. Now HTML always starts off with an HTML tag. See, tags are simply something that's within these brackets here, and you put something like this, and that's considered a tag. An element is something like, let's say a list item, and you're listing something like, I don't know, gold bars or something, and then you put you end the list item. This entire thing is called an element. So I'm going to be using these words just to show you what they are. I know what I just showed you probably didn't make any sense, but I just want to show you what the difference between a tag is and an element. So an element is the entire thing, whereas a tag is simply the hypertext programming language, if you will, of what the browsers would understand, if that makes any sense. So anyways, the first thing I want to do, and you can get this on a website right here, but basically you always want to start off a website with that looks like this. I'm going to copy and paste this. Don't worry, you guys will see it. I'll explain it. Copy. This first line right here is called a doc type. You could go to w3schools.org or it's .com, I can't remember. I'll put a description on the bottom. And what they do is they explain what the different doc types are. There's HTML5 doc types, HTML 4.01 doc types, XHTML 1.0, there's strict, there's whatever. There's different kind of doc types that are out there, and the website does a great job explaining different types of doc types. But for this demo, I'm using this particular doc type. The way it's written here means it's going to be an HTML5 doc type. The next line you want to write is HTML space language equals quotations en-us quotations, and you want to end your tag. And what this is telling the browser that you want the language to be in English, United States. Simply put, okay? And then you want to place things in a header tag here. And within your header tag, you want to put these meta tags. This first meta tag is simply telling that it's going to be text HTML document. You want to go ahead and put that in there. And this is what the character set is. Don't worry about that. In fact, I can actually change that to UTF-8 if I want to. I just happen to like that one because it seems to work best for me. But these last three here, you don't even need. It's good to have though, and the reason for it is if you were trying to create a website, and you want to get seen by Google or Bing or somebody, you want to make sure you have your description and your content in there, because what happens is when you create a website, you're going to create a robot.txt file, and the Bing bots, the Google bots, the Yahoo bots are going to pick up on whatever the content, whatever's within this content right here. So for example, the Bing bot will look at keywords, and so look at keywords that you put in here in order to index your site properly. So just know that you don't need it to create a website, but you definitely want it so your website would be seen. So if you were to create a website for a client, of course, you definitely want to put these in there. So don't need it for the development itself, but you need it for other reasons. And this is your title. This goes on top of websites all the time. Like, I don't know if you can see this or not, but you'll see Notepad++ up here. Well, that just means the title. So that's all that is. And then your script, SRC. Script simply means you're pulling JavaScript onto your website, and as a modernizer. And well, I should explain this. SRC means you're sourcing it from somewhere, and I'm sourcing it from my folder that I have, and I'm going to show you that here next. But what a modernizer does, it's a JavaScript code, because that's what .js is. And what a modernizer does, it modernizes or standardizes, I guess you could say, your website to where the browsers understand the HTML5 language that you're using. So you don't need this, but it's highly, highly recommended that you put it in here, because you might create a website for yourself or a client or someone, and all of a sudden someone goes on a specific browser, and also it doesn't look nowhere or no way the way you designed it, and that's not a good thing. And it's a really simple fix. If you just put this modernizer on here, a lot of times it fixes 90% of the problems right there. So you definitely want to reference this. There's a website called modernizer.com, if you guys can see that, and you can download the latest modernizer. It's a JavaScript library that, see, like I just got done telling you, it detects HTML5 and CSS3 features in a user browser. So like I said, it's definitely something you want. You can go ahead and download the latest one. I'm using an older version, but I mean, you probably should download this latest one right here. And what else did I want to show you? Oh, and also before we start, I want to show you that before you even start a website, let's go with this because this is what I'm teaching. Before you even go to a website, you want to make sure you have all your stuff organized. What I like to do prior to any kind of website is I want to make sure I get all my images. I want to make sure that I have all the images I'm going to use or potentially use. I may not use all these. So that's what I like to do here. And the next thing I want to make sure is I got my modernizer that I was showing you. So that way the HTML5 can be rendered where it's recognizable by different browsers. And of course we just saved this just now. And later on you're going to put your CSS cascading style sheets within here as well. So let's go ahead and go back to this. And that's basically what this intro is right here. I want to go ahead and get started. So let's go ahead and get started now. So the first thing you really want to do, well actually let me get out of this. First thing you really want to do is I'm going to delete these header tags, even though they are somewhat recommended. A lot of the people within the industry uses a lot of div tags. What a div tag does is it separates things. So like normally people put div tags in blocks. That way you can place different things on a website, I guess is the best way I can describe it. And a div tag divides things in certain areas, if that makes sense. So what I'm going to do, instead of using a header tag, I'm going to use a div tag to create a header. But first I want to create a container. I'm going to name it main container. And what a container does, well, it's nothing because that's what I named it. But what this is going to do, it's going to encapsulate everything that I want, because I want the web page to be a certain size, a certain width, and everything else. And this is going to make more sense whenever I do my cascading style sheets. But for right now, just follow along with me as things will kind of progress from here. The next thing I want to do is you want to make sure you end all your div tags. It's always important that you do that. And I'm going to go ahead and put some spaces here because it's going to be a while for me to end that particular tag. And then I'm going to put in another div tag here, and it's going to be called, I'm going to put space here, div id equals header instead of the header tags. And what I'm going to do is that's going to create that header image that you saw earlier. If we want to go back to that. Oops, not that one. This one right here. And so I'm going to go ahead and write the code for that so you guys can see what that's going to look like. So the first thing you want to do is you want to use what's called a, you want to use an IMG tag. IMG stands for image, and you want to put SRC, which is source, kind of like what you did up here because you're referencing something. And you want to put your quotation marks, and whatever you named it and whatever folder it's in. So in my case, I have a folder. If we look, I have a folder called images. Okay, guess what I named it? So first thing I want to write down is images, because I want to tell the computer where I'm getting my file from, my picture from, slash, and then whatever the name of the image is. Let me look at my notes here. Okay, I named it dog header 4 dot JPEG, and then you could simply end it right there. But I'm going to go a little bit further into this, and I'm going to give it an ID name as well as alt tags. An alt tag is simply something. It's like a title referencing to that image, if that makes sense. Because it's Google bots, Bing bots, and all that, they don't really deal with images so much. They're looking to see what the title of that image is. So although you don't need an alt tag, you definitely want it if you want Google or Bing or someone to rank your website. So it's highly recommended you put something in there rather than nothing. You particularly want to write your keyword that you're trying to rank for. But for the purpose of this tutorial, I'm just going to write something simple like dog header. But just know that you want to write something like your keyword that you're trying to target. Next thing I want to do is I want to give it an ID. And I didn't explain this earlier, but I guess I'll explain it now. An ID is simply something we reference later whenever we're doing our cascading style sheets. And I know I'm explaining this somewhat slow, guys, but I'm trying to get out all the basics out there because I don't know everyone's skill level out there. My skill level is not necessarily the highest either, really. So I'm trying to do it in a way where everybody can learn. So just kind of bear with me for all the folks out there. And anyways, we can give this ID image, this ID name, whatever we want. In my case, I'm just going to call it, I don't know, dog header. Or just header, rather. Header, I don't know, image or something. You want to put a slash here, and you want to end your tag. Now, you don't have to have an end tag for IMG. Like, you know how you normally put an end tag, whatever. Well, you don't do it for an IMG tag. So, it's not for all tags. And so, that's it for that. And then you want to end your div tag from your header there. So let's go ahead and do that. And that's going to be it for your header. Your header is now done. So if we went ahead and saved this, just like so, you want to go back to wherever you saved your website. You want to right click it, open with, and in whatever browser you particularly like. I like Firefox. And this is what we did so far. I know it's not a lot, guys, but we're just starting out, and we're eventually going to get to where we're pretty good at this. So, next thing you want to do after we create the header image is what's the next thing you guys usually see on a website? Navigation list, right? Where they have the different links with the buttons that you can click. Well, that's the next thing we want to create. So we want to create what's called a nav class. It's just navigation for short, but I'm giving a class name because I want to be able to reference it later on in CSS. That's all this is. Classes and IDs are just something to reference. That's all you need to know for now. And so, let's see, I want to name this horizontal nav. I can name it whatever I want. I just particularly want to name it this. So, and let's see. Also need to give this an unordered list, and I'm going to space this just so it looks nice and pretty. And an unordered list basically is bullets. If I put OL instead, it would give me 1, 2, 3, 4. But an unordered list is just bullets, just so you guys know. And let's go ahead and space this even more. And you want to put what's called a list item. And then we're going to go ahead and place, because we want to make these links, right? Because every web page you go to, they have a home page, a blog page, a contact me page, or whatever they got, right? Well, it's clickable. So to make a clickable link, you have what is called an ahref tag. So ahref equals quotations. Now there are two types of I guess ahrefs. I don't know how you would say it, but there's absolute and relative. an absolute address is something like http //www.google.com, right? And I'm going to show you exactly what that looks like here in a second after I save this. And then you're going to go ahead and end your A tag. You're going to put something here. I got to put quotations, excuse me. You're going to put, whatever your name of the thing, the link that you want to name it here. And then you want to simply end your A tag and then end your LI tag with a /LI. And I'm going to go ahead and save this to you guys. Well, actually, I should probably go ahead and end my UL tag here before I do that. I'm going to save this. I'm going to show you exactly what just happened. Now, notice they have Google here, also a bullet there too, but notice there's Google here. So if I were to click on this, it would take me directly to Google, and sure enough, it does. Now, obviously, I don't want to go to Google. I was just trying to demonstrate what an absolute address is, or URL is. Now I'm going to show you what a relative address is. What a relative address, I'm going to go ahead and delete this now. What a relative address is, it's something that you created within your own site, I guess is the best way to describe it. So, in other words, we're creating dog.html. Well, a relative address would be something like home.html. or blog.html, or contactme.html. It's something that is created, that you're creating yourself. That's, I don't know, it's a relative address, not absolute, because I can always change it, right? It's not like Google, where it's always Google, or it's always Bing, or it's always www.cars.com, or whatever the website is, right? So that's what this is called, a relative address. And you simply just want to write down whatever it is, and same thing, I want to write down home because I want to tell the people what this is about, right? That's the whole idea. And I want to go ahead and end the A tag, and end the LI tag. And then we're going to go ahead and create some more. Now I'm going to show you an example of what a tag would look like after this one, if you don't have a website made yet. Now on this one, I'm going to name this one dog.html. Why? Because this is what we're creating, dog.html. So I'm going to go ahead and create that then. Even though we're on this page, well, I want to make sure it shows up on all the navigation list of all my pages. So I'm going to name this dog training tips, because that's what this page is going to be about, in case I didn't tell you that already. And I'm going to end the A tag, end the LI tag, just like before. Okay. Now also, I'm going to show you, you can also do this now, just to save on time, is you can copy and paste, hit Control-C, and place as many of these as you want. I'm going to place, I think 6 of them if I'm not mistaken. That one's dog training tips. I want one, look at my notes here, dog breeds. Maybe one on our blog. Our blog, contact me, right, or about us, or whatever. About us. And maybe like our store, right, if you were trying to create a store. So say our store. And of course you want to change this. Now if you don't have any of these pages made yet, here's what you could do, guys. You create an empty set is what I call it. I don't know what the official term is, but you put a hashtag in there, okay? And you do that for all of these. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. And so basically what the hashtag does, it's basically a placeholder. So when you do have that site or that page created, it's going to that way the navigation or the link will take you directly to that page you just created. But for right now, by having this hashtag here, it just takes you to the home page or whatever page that you're creating. Okay, and same thing as before. You're going to end your list here. I'm just going to go ahead and place it the same thing here. And that's simply it for that. Then you're going to go ahead and save it, and I'm going to show you guys the progress that we made so far. I'm going to reload this, and as you can see, we have all the stuff we just named, and it's all clickable links. Now obviously they're not going to go anywhere, because of that hashtag. So if I clicked on this, for example, it doesn't do anything, right? Because it's a hashtag. I obviously need to change that whenever I do create this website, you know, for real or whatever. So anyways, I'm going to kind of cut this short from this part right here of this tutorial. On the next part of the tutorial, I'm actually going to really get into, well, I'll show you. On the next tutorial here, I'm going to show you how to create these header images, emphasis tags, as well as this picture here, and we're going to show you how to create all these bullets and this option list, as well as this footer down here, and these ads. We're eventually going to place them in the right spot later. So I hope you guys found this tutorial educational. Hopefully you learned something. And I know we didn't get through a whole lot in this tutorial, in this particular one, because I was trying to explain a lot of different things and stuff like that. But hopefully in the next one, we can just dive right in and just start going right at it. So until then, my name is Dragonor2009, and I'll see you on part 2. I'll see you then. Goodbye.